Okay, butterfly rule. Um, you typed, are you in jail in Nebraska right now? That's what the word is. That's what I was told. That is, you were in jail in Nebraska right now. No, I'm not. But that question is a little more complicated than that. Um, those of you in native territory, you know that the police don't really investigate. Um, if you're impoverished, they're not going to do anything, and if you're rich, then they'll help you to frame somebody so that you can do whatever you want. The law helps those with the money. The golden rule. Those with the gold get to make the rules, right? When I left Virginia, Natalie had spread a rumor that I had stalked her, and I've already posted up on my Facebook the evidence that that's not true. But I left there with the intention of getting away from it. And I knew her from Boulder. So when I left Virginia, I went back to Boulder, and immediately I've got people threatening me. The rumor started off as I stalked her, and then it warped into I had threatened her and her family, which was not the case either. And by January of 2017, I just needed the cops to do their jobs. I went to the police here in Chapel, Nebraska, or the sheriff's department here in Chapel, Nebraska. The officers that I spoke with told me that they had real police work to do, and I just needed to man up. Now, that officer in specific, the one whose name I can remember in that scenario, is Jordan Anderson. And so, for almost an entire year before Natalie was killed, I was suicidal over the bullying that they put me through. And I just needed it to stop. Going to the police wasn't working. I went to our mutual friends to try to get them to meet with me, and they just never showed up. And I mean, I don't have the money to keep going to meet people who don't show up. And I literally needed this to stop so that I could go to Boulder and see my loved ones, see my older brother without being threatened or harassed. Now, the other thing is, most of these people are on drugs, methamphetamines, and alcohol. And most of you know what that's like, trying to deal with them. Getting help from an alcoholic isn't help, it's a hindrance. Well, I went to the police here in Dual County, Nebraska, or the sheriff's department here in Dual County, Nebraska, at least 3 times before Natalie was killed, and they just wouldn't do their jobs. I was seeing a therapist named Nicole Peralta, and I'm autistic. I'm not sure if you guys know that. I'm high functioning though, and I do what's called normalizing. I also have Tourette syndrome, but I don't do this all the time, and I don't talk just monotone all the time because I practice so that I can fit in with you guys, because if I don't fit in, then you guys are going to hurt me a lot. Not you guys in native territory, but American society in general, especially white society. So I have to do everything I can to act normal, and it's exhausting. So when Natalie disappeared, the police in Colorado had also done the same thing with blowing me off repeatedly. After Natalie disappeared, the police were hell-bent on, well, just like that girl, what's her name on here? Let me pause it and find. Just like Amanda Perry up here slandering my name, thinking, hey, you know, if I slander his name and he gets in trouble, then, you know, I get some prestige, you know. Like, no, that's not the case. But the police, they wanted to believe that I had killed Natalie, and they did everything in their power to cover up the fact that they were doing wrong shit. And you guys in native country know that police do that often, especially when it's a missing native woman who was beaten to death by her husband, and they could have done something about it, but just never did, and then she ends up dead. That's what I was dealing with. So when I was finally able to come back to Nebraska to try to get the evidence that I had gone to the police repeatedly to try to get help and they had blown me off, Natalie should not have ended up dead. If the police had done their job here in Dual County, she would still be alive. If they had done their jobs in Colorado, she would still be alive. But they wouldn't do their jobs. And going to my friends, trying to get help from them didn't work. They were busy talking over me. Most of them are drug addicts, and, that's what happens when you're on the streets. You meet a lot of people. Some of them are on drugs, some of them aren't. But they realized that I was trying to do that, and they went out of their power to do everything to prevent me from doing that. The officers didn't want to get in trouble, and they didn't want their buddies getting in trouble. So they did a bunch of illegal stuff in Chapel here to try to kick me out of town illegally. And I'm like, no, this isn't going to happen. You guys did wrong. I need to be allowed to make a report. So I had a woman named Molly Smith who went in with me, and she was going to help me. And she did. That was the only time out of all of this. That's the only time that the police pretended to take a report instead of the other bullshit that they pulled. And I'll get into that in a second. Ted Bollinger and Natalie's twin sister Alicia Bollinger were fucking with my head at my grandma's funeral, and Jordan Anderson didn't do anything about it. This is the 5th or 6th time that I've spoken with Dual County Police or Dual County Sheriff's Department since leaving Virginia about this situation. And by this time, Natalie's already dead. And they basically just blew me off. So later on, when I was able to go in with Molly Smith, they finally pretended like they were going to do something, and that was Officer Jared Hahn. Well, Jared Hahn didn't investigate anything. He didn't bother going and talking to any of the witnesses. There's another officer who was here at the time named Cody Selhorst, who was heavily involved in trying to intimidate me into leaving town. That's not going to happen. So Jen Beebe, she came down because obviously the police aren't going to take my report unless there's somebody there with me. They can say whatever they want. They can slander my name and omit evidence and falsify evidence all they want, but they just got to turn off their body cameras. Well, Officer Cody Selhorst had gotten a call that I was out at Chapel Lake trying to kill myself. He saw me with the mask on my face. I was trying to kill myself with helium. And he drove over to the other side of the lake to watch me die. When it didn't work, he took me down to the sheriff's department, and I started explaining to him what was going on, and he just didn't care. He tried to pacify me with a sandwich. So when Molly Smith went in with me, and that obviously didn't work because they didn't investigate anything. The next day, I still had a lot more stuff to show. I mean, I've got literally hundreds of threats against my life that I need to show these guys. And they just didn't care. I had to literally... How many of you have been chased by the police? I was chasing the police to try to get them to do their jobs. I was chasing Jared Hahn through town all the way out to Chapel Lake to get him to do his job. And out at Chapel Lake, he said, I already took your report, got in his vehicle and drove off. So, it was a very messed up scenario. And Jen Beebe, she was my caseworker through Region 1 here in Nebraska. And she came down to help me make a report, which is what I thought she was coming down for. But no, the police had lied to her and said that I tried to suicide by cop and tried to reach for one of their guns. And so she had me committed to the Scottsbluff Hospital where they wanted to inject me with drugs. Now, this is the 3rd or 4th time that this had happened to me since Natalie died. I'm mostly just focusing on the Nebraska stuff here, but there's a reason for that. Sheriff Scott DaCosta, he wouldn't do his job. He said it's because the guy who I was with said that I was bipolar. Well, the guy that I was with didn't say I was bipolar. He said that I have Asperger's, which is a type of autism. That's not the same as hallucinating things. So, that was Scott DeCosta's excuse not to do his job. Jen Beebe had me committed to the Scottsbluff Hospital, and in the Scottsbluff Hospital, because of being suicidal, and at the time I wasn't trying to commit suicide, I was trying to get the police to do their fucking jobs. Every time that I decided to try to make the police do their jobs, instead of killing myself, they put me on suicide watch or locked me up in the jail. So they were trying to put drugs in me up there at the Scottsbluff Hospital, and I was like, no, if you guys try to put those drugs in me, you're not going to like me. Those drugs make me violent. They make it so that I can't think, and I'm a lot more emotional than I am now. You don't want to do that. And I broke their computers to prevent them from putting those drugs in my system. So this was in 2018. In 2018 in August, I literally threatened to kill the President of the United States to try to force the police to take a look at what was going on, to try to force an outside agency to take a look, because police had done this across multiple jurisdictions and multiple counties. They had separated me from the people who were trying to help and threatened and intimidated many of the people who were trying to help me. And because of the slander against me all over the news, I mean, most of those people weren't willing to give it another chance. They were too scared. So when I got out of the Scottsbluff Hospital, they kicked me out of the hospital. I was just there so they could give Scott DeCosta what he wanted. Bipolar. Okay, fine. Call me bipolar. So when I threatened the President of the United States, I ended up in jail, obviously, and they slandered me in court, and Natalie's family was allowed to slander me in court, and they illegally prevented me from being able to go to my court dates. I needed to get protection orders against Ted Bollinger, Alicia Bollinger, and her entire family.